Let's see this concept. There are two concepts, linearly dependent and linearly independent. So talking about the vectors, we have to know about it. So what I'll do is, first I'll explain these concepts and then I'll tell you what is the relevance that we should be learning this, especially in this topic. So first see the topic first. Linearly dependent set of vectors. A set of n vectors x1, a set of r vectors, let's say. Okay, so here it is, just try to understand it. A set of n vectors, which means size of each vector is n. That is what I mean. It is not total number of vectors is not n, size of each vector is n. A set of n vectors, which means we have set of vectors in which size of each vector is n. Then how many vectors are there? x1, x2, so on, xr. So xr vectors are there, r vectors are there, is said to be linearly dependent if there exists r scalars k1, k2, so on, kr, not all 0, such that I can write all the vectors like this. Okay, so did you understand anything from that? So if you didn't understand anything, I'll take examples and explain. So simply put, what I mean to say is, if you have n vectors, vectors of size n, if you have all such vectors, if I can put them all together by multiplying them and adding them together with some constants, then if the result happens to be 0, then I can say that all these vectors are linearly dependent. Then we can say that all of them are linearly dependent. So I'll take examples, don't worry. And linearly independent is, if you try to put them together, there should not be any way that you should get 0. Only way you get 0 will be when these variables k1, k2, so on, kr are 0. So if that is the case, then it is called linearly independent. So now I told you these two concepts. One is linearly dependent and other is linearly independent. What is the meaning of it? Linearly dependent means we should be able to put them together and get 0. Linearly independent means we should not be able to put them together and get 0. What is the significance of this is, while solving linear equations of this form, of any form, let's say there is a linear equation of this form, 2x plus 3y equal to 0, okay, where x and y are these variables, and now we want to find the value of x and y, and we know that in order to solve this we might need one more equation. So let's say they have given another equation and they are giving the other equation like this, equal to 0. So the second equation is simply multiplying the first equation with 2 and giving it, which means they are not giving us any extra information, they are giving the same information. They are giving one equation and they are asking us to solve it, and they are showing as if it is two equations, right? So how can we find out that it is they have given only one equation? We have to find out that they are linearly dependent. If we can find out that they are linearly dependent, then we can say that solving is I'll tell you those rules. Okay, just find out that they are one and the same. So or at least some of the equations can be derived from the other equations, which means some of the equations are not giving us any new information. They are simply taking the old equations and putting them in another form. So if we can find it out, then we can solve the equation in a different manner. So see this. So I don't want to get cheated thinking that this is a new equation and it might help me in solving the question. So how can I see it? If you write this in form of vectors, the quotient matrix will look like this. We have already seen what a quotient matrix is. I am just putting all the quotients together. If you remember it, earlier also we have seen such linear equations. Now if you observe this is a vector and this is a vector, and we can clearly know that this, if I call this one as x1, if I call this one as x2, we can clearly know that x2 is equal to 2 into x1, isn't it? Then how can I write minus 2 into x2 plus x1 minus 2 into x1 plus x2 equal to 0, isn't it? So what is it? I am able to write all the vectors in such a way that I found some constants in such a way that the result is 0. Therefore they are linearly dependent. Linearly dependent means there is something wrong with those equations, or they are not those many equations as they claim to be. They are actually derived from one and the other. One is derived from the other. So we can examine it deeply But first, let's understand this concept. Later, I'll again take what does it imply, what is the meaning of it, then what how to solve the equations. Okay. So first, my intention is to make is to make you understand this linearly dependent and linearly independent set by taking some examples. We shall again come back to that. Okay. Don't worry about it.
Hi, if you are planning to do masters, then doing masters abroad is better than doing masters in India. I'll give you all the reasons. So, first reason is out of 1 lakh students who take GATE every year, there are only 500 seats in old IITs. So, all the IITs put together have an acceptance rate of 0.5%, and IITs, universities better than IITs, they have very good acceptance rate like 30%, 40%. But all the IITs put together have an acceptance rate of 0.5%. And if you are working hard to get into IIT Bombay's ranking is 177 and IIT Roorkee's ranking is 400. If you are happy to get into IIT Roorkee, then getting into universities better than IIT Roorkee is easier compared to getting into IIT Roorkee. And looking at the salaries for computer science, for software jobs, if you have done your masters in computer science in US, the salaries are ranging from 80 lakhs per year to 1.2 crore per year. So even if you take an average of 1 crore per year, your savings will be much higher than the salaries in India. After taxes and your cost of living, you can easily save 40 to 50 lakhs per year. And in India, the maximum jobs that you get is around 30 lakhs. So your savings will be much greater than the salaries in India. And these are all the services that we provide. University shortlisting. So depending on your profile, we will shortlist what are the universities that you have to apply, and statement of purpose building, and then LOR guidance, and GRE and English test assistance, and education loan assistance. So you don't have to have any collateral, which means without any security, now you can get education loan. Getting education loan is very simple these days, and whatever the amount of fee that you have a range of universities. You can apply for 10 lakh universities, 20 lakh universities, or 50 lakh universities. But whatever it is, you are going to get complete education loan, and you can pay off your education loan in 1 year after you get a job. And then we do visa assistance, mock visa interviews, and then connecting with the university alumni. So now you might ask why we should join Game of Visas. So the answer is we have 90% success rate, 99% success rate. And these are all the destinations that we guide the students to. So we guide students to any country that you want to go. So now it is not just USA. We guide to UK, Germany, Australia, Canada. So we guide students to all the countries. We work with all the destinations. And if you are interested in going abroad, you have to just drop us a message on this WhatsApp number 9494 555 454. Okay, thank you.